Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. So, I saw this yesterday. I definitely wanted to make a video about it as soon as I saw it. Just was sort of waiting for the right time, and this morning's a good time. So, it's about the mansion fire in North Jersey in Colts Neck, a very well-to-do area outside of Asbury Park in North Jersey, which is basically just outside of New York City. And it was Keith Caneiro and his wife Jennifer Caneiro and their two kids. I believe they were ages 8 and 11, a boy and a girl. They were all killed. And the brother's been arrested, and to the best of my knowledge, he's been charged with aggravated arson of his own home. Because also, strangely enough, another home was set ablaze, according to authorities. They suspect arson very close by his brother's home in Ocean Township, New Jersey. I think it's only like 11 miles from the Colts Neck home. The Colts Neck home is a massive $1.5 million mansion that I think Keith and his wife had built on that land in 1998. They bought the property and had it built in 2003. I'm not positive, but I believe that's the case. So it's 5,700 square feet, massive pool, huge. So and he was the founder of a technology business, Square One, that was in located in a commercial building in Asbury Park. He had a couple different businesses. He was a very busy person, apparently, and they had that house paid off, so they had no debt problems. Keith did. They paid off the $1.8 million mortgage, him and his wife, fairly soon after, I don't know the exact time. I'm just saying debt was not an issue. And he had a pest control business that he ran out of the same office that he ran the Square One business, a technology consulting business, maybe a web design business. Not a huge company. I think they had 5 employees. And his brother basically worked for him or was a partner. I don't know the exact arrangement, but it seems as though Keith was this, the founder of the business and kind of the more accomplished person. But his brother, his home was a nice home. $700,000 home, big, beautiful 2-story home that his neighbors claim was his pride and joy, and that he had spent like $140,000 on a deck that he had just recently done. I don't know that he did it himself. I believe he had somebody do it. I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked. But so that fire at the $1.5 million mansion in Colts Neck, I believe, started around 12:45, 1 o'clock, something like that, maybe 1:30. Keith was found in the front yard with gunshot wounds. I believe 2 gunshot wounds to the back of his head. The wife and children were inside the home and were badly burned. And they went up with the fire. It was determined after some time. The police, the investigators, couldn't even enter the home because it was so dangerous, and not stable to investigate. But once they could, and it was determined that I believe the mother and children, or at least 1 or 2 of them, were stabbed to death before they were in the home and went up in the fire. So, and that was at around 12:30. I forget the exact date. I want to say Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. So, but earlier that same day at 5 in the morning, the brother's home had been on fire, and it was determined there were gas cans nearby. It was quickly determined to be arson, and it was believed that it was doused by. And they're accusing him, Paul Caneiro, the brother of the millionaire who was killed, and his family, of setting the fire himself intentionally. Okay, and this fire was started in the attic, and the rear of the home went up, but it was quickly discovered and extinguished. I mean, it was a significant fire, but it didn't go up like the $1.5 million mansion. And his own wife and I want to say 2 daughters. I'm not positive. I'm just doing this on the fly right now. Paul Caneiro's wife, Paul, pictured right there, who's been arrested for aggravated arson. His wife and his own daughters were in the home when the fire, began. Okay, so, so he's been charged with aggravated arson. So far, nobody's been charged with the murders of his brother, Keith Caneiro, as well as the rest of his family, his wife and 2 children. It's absolutely tragic, And I don't think anybody's been charged with arson for the $1.5 million Colts Neck home either, yet. The crazy thing is, I don't know, it's on one hand, you wouldn't expect him to necessarily admit it, but his attorney is saying he is innocent and that he's going to be exonerated. He completely denies any involvement in it. And, he's saying it wasn't him. So, I think a lot of people are interested in this story and have a lot of, theories or whatever as to maybe what might be behind it if it's not him, and I think that's very natural. I am too. My wife was, and when I was discussing it with her this morning. So, but he says it wasn't him. The other interesting development, very interesting, is that his wife and children are standing by him. They believe him, that it wasn't him, And I don't know if he had debt issues. It doesn't seem that way, but there's not a lot of reporting on that. I'm sure we're going to learn more as as this progresses. But his wife and children are standing by him, and that's at least some kind of indicator. So there's that. And then naturally, it can go both ways. Some people are they can't help it. They have to confess, and they end up confessing right away for whatever reason. But some people, they'll obviously deny it. Why wouldn't you deny it? Why not until the very end? But there was other accounts. There were other accounts of him as being a neighbor, as well as that day, the day his house was set afire, and his witness accounts of how he was behaving made the neighbors think that they would be shocked if he was the one who started that home. Plus, they several people said that home was his pride and joy, But there's differing accounts. Some people said he was, that he liked to be sort of a big shot, like a big fish in a small pond kind of thing. I heard one. But you get, it's impossible to determine anything from, various statements that people make, who are basically observing a neighbor from a distance, and they don't know, Just like the people who think who would be shocked if he did it, don't necessarily know. But they're interesting, So if I could just quickly go through, and by now that's his brother's family, and the children have been identified by now, who were killed. Let me just quickly show you. It's terrible. So the 2 children, Jesse and Sophia, on Tuesday, it was Tuesday, and 12 miles away in Colts Neck. So his brother lived very close by, as I was saying. I got that right. And Keith was also a licensed realtor. He was obviously just a workhorse who just did anything he could to work. And he had a very solid education, went to Harvard Business School, master's from Columbia, But I think just a worker, that's what it seems like. All right, so. But it is unknown who called 911. This is about Paul Caneiro's home, a $670,000 4-bedroom home, and the fire was reported at 5:01 a.m. Tuesday. It remains unclear if the family was murdered before the fire was reported at Paul's house or afterward. That's an error. This is talking about Keith is the brother whose family was murdered. That's just it's an error in Daily Mail. So, but Paul's house is the $670,000 one. If it's pictured here, there it is, right there. It's a big house, big nice house. Believe me, And it is unknown who called 911, but he and his wife Susan escaped unharmed with their 2 daughters. Afterwards, he sat in his car with his wife and 2 daughters. Neighbors told DailyMail.com on Wednesday they were shocked that he had been arrested and described him as a house-proud homeowner. Keith used I used to visit him often, they said, but had not been to his home for a while. One man who did not wish to be named said he believed it was unlikely that Paul would set his own house on fire because he had worked so hard on it. He also said the family seemed genuinely devastated by the fire and were grieving over the house, but that Paul made a remark about being blamed for it, which surprised him. He said, "They make it seem like it's your fault." I was like, "Huh? Why the hell would you say that? If I'd been him, I'd be thinking my house is burned. How do I fix it?" So that person, again, I was just illustrating before that we all have different opinions, and we're all just kind of don't know, But I don't know. But that's what I would have been thinking, and not that they made me feel like I did it. And even if they did make me feel that way, I'd be thinking of the financial impact it would have on me. The daughters, the wife, they were all grieving the way you would grieve over a child because they were so proud of that house. We went over to see what happened. He was sitting in his car with his wife and girls. The first thing he said to us was, "I'm in shock." He was visibly shaken. If it was fake, you'd have to be a pretty damn good actor. It was shaking, nervous, he said. His house is loaded with surveillance cameras. He also has infrared on both floors, scanning the whole house. He's nuts with technology, everything over the top. He told me he spent $140,000 building his deck. It's stainless steel screws. So, I don't know. I assume his own surveillance system is going to determine that, but, maybe it would, who knows. He also, that's why I keep saying there's no way he lit the fire to his own house. He's so passionate about it. It's his baby. So to torch it, if it turns out that that's the truth, I'll be totally surprised, the man said. He also remarked how he was ambitious but did not have the same level of success as his younger brother. He's a guy who was enamored with financial success. He liked the good stuff. He got his girls Porsches for their first cars. That doesn't fit the profile of a person who lives in this neighborhood. The Porsche dealer comes and brings cars by and tries to sell him cars at his house. I've seen it happen. He likes to be the big shot. He's a big fish in a little pond. Anyways, and his brother can afford a Colts Neck place on a piece of land. Paul's a big shot in the upper middle class neighborhood. And that's from before. That's the reports from before. But now it's, the accused arsonist will be exonerated. Any link to Colts Neck killings, pure speculation, lawyer says. The lawyer for the New Jersey man whose brother was among four slain at the sprawling Colts Neck mansion earlier this week, which was set ablaze in a suspicious fire, said his client would ultimately be exonerated. Paul Caneiro, 51, of Ocean Township, has been charged with the aggravated arson for allegedly setting his own Ocean Township home on fire early Tuesday morning with his wife and two daughters inside, according to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. His wife and two daughters were unharmed. Hours later, however, firefighters rushed to a raging fire at the Colts Neck home of Paul Caneiro's brother, Keith, who was found dead of gunshot wounds in the front yard. His wife and two kids were dead inside. All four were killed, murdered before the fire was set, authorities said. However, despite mounting suspicion, Paul's lawyer proclaimed his client's innocent. His family fully supports him. "It is our firm belief that my client will be exonerated when the case is finally resolved," said Ocean Township-based defense attorney Robert Honecker, a former top prosecutor in the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Paul, who has not been charged in the homicides but charged for aggravated arson in the fire at his own home, remains in the Monmouth County Jail in Freehold. So he hasn't been allowed. I don't think he was allowed to post bail. He is scheduled to appear at a detention hearing on Wednesday, according to Honecker. When's the date of this? This is the 23rd. So that's next Wednesday. That's not the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's correct. That was Friday. That was yesterday, this report. And so he's to appear in court next Wednesday. The only charges that are currently pending in the aggravated arson of his own. The only charges are of his own residence. There are no charges that are filed against him in any other matter, and any connection to what happened in Colts Neck is pure speculation. Honecker said that anyone who knew Paul would attend, that he loved his brother and would not do anything to harm him. They were best friends. His brother was his best man at his wedding, and they talked to each other every day, he added. Keith, 50, was found shot to death in the yard of his property on Willowbrook Road after firefighters rushed to the raging fire at the home. His wife, Jennifer Caneiro, 45, and the couple's children, Jesse, 11, and Sophia, 8, were found killed inside the residence. At least one or two of them were stabbed. That's been reported. I've seen it. No charges have been filed in the homicides. As detectives investigate, meanwhile, GoFundMe page helping the Caneiro family has been created. It says that while the killings are making national headlines, what you have not heard about is the state that the rest of the family has been left in. As a result of the tragedy, the surviving Caneiro family has lost the family members that they love dearly. Not only are they dealing with the tragic loss of their family, they also have nothing and nowhere to go. So, you know, that's where we are with this. I mean, the one thing that always kind of puzzled me about this is basically, he said the fire at the Ocean Township house, at Paul Caneiro's house, the smaller house, the brother who's been charged, that was set at 5 a.m. in the morning before the mansion at Colts Neck. So, I mean, and I'm just presuming things. I'm just sort of, you know, mapping this out in my head. If, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but if this person, if the brother killed his brother and his family, if Paul killed his brother and his family, you would, and he was there until about noon, and then left. And I don't know, you know, if his wife and him left together, whatever. And then the fire started at the Colts Neck property around 12:30, something like that, maybe 1:15. I think it was 12:30 though. Could have been 1:15, whatever. But my point is that if he in fact was the person that was behind the Colts Neck fire and the killing of his brother and his family, it's almost as though it would have had to have been done, the killing, before the day before or the night before, you know, and that basically it would have had to have been done. You know, I mean, I just can't imagine he would have had time to go over there. I mean, it's, you know, and why would he set his own house on, set his own house on fire first? He would have, you know, before, you know, I mean, if he was trying to set his own house on fire to make him not look like he was part of it, he would have set his own house on fire after the killing of his brother and the fire at his own place. His brother's place, you know, that seems like the natural sequence of things, unless the family, the brother and his wife, Keith and his wife and 2 children, were killed the night before, and then this whole thing was set up, you know, to set your own home on fire first at 5 a.m., then go over there, stage everybody, put the brother in the front of the home, who's already been killed the night before, and the children and the wife in the home, and start the fire. That was how it was. I was mapping it, but obviously I don't know a thing, and I have no idea. And you know, some people seem to think that he's not the dude, even though, you know, the authorities, all the suspicion is they're at least they are charging him with the aggravated arson of his own home. And that's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. And I will see you in the next video. All right, later, man.